Back again. Got a big day tomorrow, first game, and I should be asleep right now, but I'm awake because I've got to finish this book. But anyway, I left off where Mike was inviting Devin for dinner, and low key, the mom was not messing with that. So Devin seeing that, he said, "Nah, I'm okay. Thank you though. Next time." But yeah, that's where I left off. He denied the invitation from Mike. Mike, right? Michael. Yeah, Mike. Ziggy. 20 minutes.
20-minute timer start.
Love your Christ kite. Your dog ain't bad either. I patted Milo's head. Okay, another time. But don't wait too long because mom interposed hastily. Can you go to work a little earlier tomorrow, Mr. Jones? Sure, I guess. Sure, I guess. We could have fruit smoothies right here if the weather's nice. I make a mean fruit smoothie. I bet she did. And that way, she wouldn't have to have a strange man in the house. Will you? Mike asked. Will you? Mike asked. That'd be cool. I love to. I bring a bag of pastries from Betty's. Oh, you don't have to, she began. She began. My pleasure, man. Oh, oh. She looked startled. I never introduced myself, did I? I'm Ann Ross. She held out her hand. I shake it, Mrs. Ross, but I really am filthy. I showed her my hands. It's probably on the kite too. You should have given Jesus a mustache, Mike shouted, and then laughed himself into another coughing fit. You're getting a little loose with the twine there, Mike, I said. Better reel it in. And as he started doing it, I gave Milo a farewell pat and started back down the beach. Mr. Jones, she called. I turned back. She was standing upright with her chin raised. Sweat had molded the shirt. Sweat had molded the shirt to her, and she had great breasts. Whoa. She had great breasts. It's Miss Ross, but since I guessed Mr. Jones, she called. I turned back. She was standing upright, with her chin raised. Sweat had molded the shirt to her, and she had great breasts. It's Miss Ross. But since I guess we've now been properly introduced, why don't you call me Annie? I can do that. I pointed at her shirt. What's a match competition? And why is it prone? That's when you shoot lying down, Mike said. Haven't done it in ages, she said, in a curt tone that suggested she wanted the subject closed. Fine with me. Fine with me. I tipped Mike a wave and he sent one right back. He was grinning. Kid had a great grin. Kid had a great grin. 40 or 50 yards down the beach, I turned around for another look. The kite was descending, but for the first time being the wind, but the kite was descending, but for the first time being the wind still owned it. They were looking up at it, the woman with her hand on her son's shoulders. Miss, I thought. Miss, not Mrs. And there a mister with them in the big old and there and not miss. And is there a mister with them in the big old Victorian with the 70 bathrooms? Just because I never seen one with them didn't mean there wasn't one. I didn't think so. I thought it was just the two of them on their own. I got no clarification from Annie Ross the next morning, but plenty of dish from Mike. I also get one hell of a nice fruit smoothie, she said. I also got one hell of a nice what I also got one hell of a nice fruit smoothie. She said she made the yogurt herself and it was layered with fresh strawberries from God knows where. I brought croissants and blueberry muffins from Betty's bakery. Mike skipped the pastries but finished his smoothie and asked for another. From the way his mother's mouth dropped open, I gathered that this was an astounding development, but not, I guessed, in a bad way. Are you sure you can eat another one? Maybe just half, he said. What's the deal, Mom? You're the one who says fresh yogurt helps me move my bowels. I don't think we need to discuss your bowels at 7 in the morning, Mike. She got up, then cast a doubtful glance my way. Don't worry, Mike said brightly. If he tries to kiddo fiddle me, I'll tell Mito to sick him. Color bloomed in her cheeks. Michael Everett Ross. Sorry, he said. He didn't look sorry. His eyes were sparkling. Don't apologize to me. Apologize to Mr. Jones. Accepted, accepted. Will you keep an eye on him, Mr. Jones? I won't be long. I will if you call me Devin. Then I'll do that. She hurried up the boardwalk, pausing once to look over her shoulder. I think she had more than half a mind to come back, but in the end, the prospect of stuffing a few more healthy calories into her painfully thin boy was too much for her to resist, and she went on. Mike watched her climb the steps to the back patio inside. Now I'll have to eat it. Well, yeah. Well, yeah, you asked for it, right? Only so I could talk to you without her butting in. I mean, I love her and all, but she's always butting in. Like, what's wrong with me is this big shameful secret we have to keep. He shrugged. I've got muscular dystrophy, dystrophy. That's all. That's why I'm in the wheelchair. I can walk, but the braces and crutches are a pain in the butt. I'm sorry, I said. That stinks, Mike. I guess, but I can't remember not having it. So what the hell? Only it's a special kind of MD. Dutchen's muscular dystrophy, it's called. Most kids who have it croak in their teens or early 20s. So you tell me, so you tell me, what do you say to a 10-year-old kid who's just told you he's living under a death sentence, but but he raised a teacherly finger. Remember her talking about how I was sick last year? Mike, you don't have to tell me all this if you don't want to. Yeah, except I do. He was looking at me with clear intensity, maybe even urgency, because you want to know. Maybe you even need to know. I was thinking of Fortuna again. Two children, she had told me. A girl in a red hat and a boy with a dog. She said one of them had the sight, but she didn't know which. I thought that now I did. Mom said, I think I got over it. Do I sound like I got over it? Nasty cuff, I ventured. But otherwise, I couldn't think how to finish. Otherwise, your legs are nothing but sticks. Otherwise, your legs are nothing but sticks. Otherwise, you look like your mom and I could tie a string to the book of your shirt and fly you like a kite. Otherwise, if I had to bet on whether you or Milo would live longer, I'd put my money on the dog. Dang. I came down with pneumonia just after Thanksgiving, okay? When I didn't improve after a couple of weeks in the hospital, the doctor told my mom I was probably going to die and she ought to, get ready for that. But he didn't tell her in your hearing. I thought they never have a conversation like that in your hearing. I hung in. Though. He said this with some pride. My grandfather called my mom. I think it was the first time they talked in a long time. I don't know who told him what was going on, what I don't know who told him what was going on, but he has people everywhere. It could have been any of them. People everywhere sounded kind of paranoid, but I kept my mouth shut. Later, I find out it wasn't paranoid at all. Mike's grandfather did have them everywhere, and they all saluted Jesus, the flag, and the NRA, although possibly not in that order. And so Michael is really really rich, and sounds like his family's got power, especially his grandfather. Grandpa said I got over the pneumonia because of God's will. Mom said he was full of bullshit. Just like when he said me having DMD in the first place was God's punishment. She said I was just one tough little son of a bitch and God had nothing to do with it. Then she hung up on him. Mike might have heard her Mike might have heard her end of that conversation, but not Grandpa's. But I doubted like hell if his mother had told him. I didn't think he was making it up though. I found myself hoping Annie wouldn't hurt her back. This wasn't like listening to Madame Fortuna, what she had. I believed and still do all these years later was some small bit of authentic psychic ability amped up by a shrewd understanding of human nature and then packaged in glittering corny bullshit. Mike's thing was clearer, simpler, purer. It wasn't like seeing the ghost of Linda Gray, but it was akin to that. Okay? It was touching another world. Mom said she'd never come back here, but here we are because I wanted to come to the beach, because I wanted to fly a kite, and because I'm never going to make 12, let alone my early 20s. It was the pneumonia, see? I get steroids and they help, but the pneumonia combined with the chine, the how do you say that, bro? How do you say that? How do you say that? Du Duchenne, Duchenne's. It's a disease, obviously. Combined with the Duchenne's, MD fucked up my lungs and heart permanently. He looked at me with a child's defiance, watching for how I'd react to what is now so coyly referred to as the F bomb. I didn't react, of course. I was too busy processing the sense to worry about his choice of words. So I said, I guess what you're saying is an extra fruit smoothie won't help. He threw back his head and laughed. The laughter turned into the worst coughing fit yet. Alarmed, I went to him and pounded his back, but gently. It felt as if there was nothing under there but chicken bones. Milo barked once and put his paws up on one of Mike's wasted legs. There were two pitchers on the table, water in one and fresh squeezed orange juice in the other. Mike pointed to the water and I poured him half a glass. When I tried to hold it for him, he gave me an impatient look, even with the coughing fit still whacking him, and took it himself. He spilled some on his shirt, but most of it went down his throat, and the coughing erased, and the coughing eased. That was a bad one, he said, patting his chest. My heart's going like a bastard. Don't tell my mother. Jesus, kid. Like, she doesn't know. She knows too much. That's what I think, Mike said. She knows I might have 3 more good months and then 4 or 5 really bad ones. Like in bed all the time, not able to do anything but suck oxygen and wash mash and fat Albert. The only question is whether or not she'll let Grammy and Grandpa Ross come to the funeral. He coughed hard enough to make his eyes water, but I didn't mistake that for tears. He was bleak but in control. Last evening, when the kite went up, he felt it tugging the twine. He had been younger than his age. Now, I was watching him struggle to be a lot older. The scary thing was how well he was succeeding. His eyes met mine, dead on. She knows. She doesn't know that I know. The back door banged. We looked and saw Annie crossing the patio, heading for the boardwalk. Why would I need to know, Mike? She shook his head. He shook his head. I don't have any idea, but you can't talk about it to mom, okay? It just upsets her. I'm all she's got, he said. This last, not with pride, but a kind of gloomy realism. Realism. All right. Oh, one more thing. I almost forgot. He shot a glance at her, saw she was only halfway down the boardwalk, and turned back to me. It's not white. What's not white? Mike Ross looked mystified. No idea. When I woke up this morning, I remembered you were coming for smoothies, and that came into my head. I thought you'd know. Annie arrived. She had poured a mini smoothie into a juice glass. On top was a single strawberry. Yum, Mike said. Thanks, Mom. You're very welcome, hon. She eyed his wet shirt but didn't mention it. When she asked me if I wanted some more juice, Mike winked at me. I said more juice would be great. While she poured, Mike fed Milo 2 heaping spoonfuls of his smoothie. She turned back to him and looked at the smoothie glass, now empty. Wow, you really were hungry. Told you. What were you and Mr. Jones Devon talking about? Nothing much, Mike said. He's been sad, but he's better now. I said nothing, but I could feel heat rising in my cheeks when I dared to look at Annie. She was smiling. Welcome to Mike's world, Devon, she said, and I must have looked like I'd swallowed a goldfish because she burst out laughing. It was a nice sound. That evening, when I walked back from JOYLAND, she was standing at the end of the boardwalk waiting for me. It was the first time I'd seen her in a blouse and skirt, and she was alone. That was the first too. Devin, got a second? Sure, I said. Got a second? Sure, I said, angling up that sandy slope to her. Where's Mike? Where's Mike? He has physical therapy 3 times a week. Usually, Janice, she's his therapist, comes in the morning, but I arranged for her to come this evening instead because I wanted to speak to you alone. Does Mike know that? Annie smiled ruefully, probably. Mike knows far more than he should. I won't ask what you two talked about after he got rid of me this morning, but I'm guessing that his insights come as no surprise to you. He told me why he's in a wheelchair, that's all, and he mentioned he had pneumonia last Thanksgiving. I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you. I wanted to thank you for the kite. I wanted to thank you for the kite, Dev. My son has very restless nights. He's not in pain exactly, but he has trouble breathing when he's asleep. It's like apnea. He has to sleep in a semi-sitting position, and that doesn't help. Sometimes he stops breathing completely, and when he does, an alarm goes off and wakes him up. Only last night, after the kite, he slept right. He slept right through. I even went in once around 2 a.m. to make sure the monitor wasn't malfunctioning. He was sleeping like a baby, no restless tossing and turning, no nightmares. He's prone to them, and no moaning. It was the kite. It satisfied him in a way nothing else possibly could, except maybe going to that damned amusement park of yours, which is completely out of the question. She stopped, then smiled. Oh shit, I'm making a speech. It's alright. Oh shit, I'm making a speech. It's alright, I said. It's just that I've had so few people to talk to. I have housekeeping help, a very nice woman from Heaven's Bay, and of course there's Janice, but it's not the same. She took a deep breath. Here's the other part. I was rude to you on several occasions and with no cause. I'm sorry. Miss shit. Annie, you don't have to apologize for. You don't have anything to apologize for. Yes, I do. You could have walked on when you saw me struggling with the kite, and then Mike wouldn't have gone. You could have just walked on when you saw me struggling with the kite, and then Mike wouldn't have gotten that good night's rest. All I can say is that I have problems trusting people. This is where she invites me in for supper, I thought, but she didn't. Maybe because of what I said next. You know, he could come to the park. It'd be easy to arrange, and with it closing on, he could have the run of the place. Her face closed apart like a hand into a fist. Oh no, absolutely not. If you think that he didn't tell you as much about his condition as I thought he did, please don't mention it to him. In fact, I have to insist. All right, I said. But if you change your mind, I trailed. But if you change your mind, I trailed off. She wasn't going to change her mind. She looked at her watch and a new smile lit her face. It was so brilliant you could almost overlook how it never reached her eyes. Oh boy, look how late it's getting. Mike will be hungry after his PE, and I haven't done a thing about supper. Will you excuse me? Sure. All right, I'll end it right there for the day. Ziggy, stop. So quick recap. Mike, I mean, oh, so instead of Devin going to Mike's house, they arrange a plan where Devin comes early to the park and they have a fresh smoothie. So they have that arranged. They got that arranged, and the next day they met up. They had a nice smoothie, and this is where Mike told Devin, gave Devin the details, told him about his condition, what's going on with him, how his mom is hiding certain stuff from him, I guess to protect him. When whole time Mike knows what's going on and he has accepted his fate in a way, and he's understanding. And we get to know that Mike's, I guess, family is really wealthy, and they're doing everything that they could to, like, keep him alive. And Mike doesn't have that. Mike doesn't have that much time to live. He has like certain amount of months, I guess, a year max to like live, and it's not looking too good for him because he's coughing constantly, and he has to like sleep with the machine every night, and it's a nightmare. But yeah, that's the recap of what I just read.